Whenever you're ready, sir.
I'm ready.
All right. I don't have headphones. I can't hear you when you whisper, Zach.
You know, they say a mind is a terrible thing to waste. But what would happen if one man filled another's with the scariest films of all time?
Who are you talking to?
Nothing. Ready to watch some movies?
Aw, yeah.
Yeah. Hello, and welcome to Matt Makes Zach Watch Horror Movies. I'm Matt.
And I'm Zach.
And I made him watch a horror movie. What did we watch this week, Zach?
Killer Klowns from Outer Space.
So, Zach, what'd you think of the movie?
Well, we went to Horror Nights last year now.
Oh, yes, 2019.
2019, we went to Horror Nights and they had a maze. And it was amazing.
It was the best maze there. And all of them were really good. I'm just going to blow right past that pun, man. Because why?
Amazing.
Why, Zach?
That was on the spot, too. I didn't have that planned.
Oh, really? Doesn't show at all.
But I've been really excited to watch this movie just because the maze was so good.
That maze was awesome.
Like, all I knew about it was the maze.
Yeah.
So it was fun watching this.
Oh.
Yeah, it was like, I remember
the
that
tension
part.
in that maze was nuts.
Yeah. Yeah, I love this movie. It was really
good. Oh, thank God.
I loved it. I loved it a lot.
Because if then you went in the movie thoroughly disappointed, I'd be like, oh, shit.
The only thing I was disappointed about in this movie was there wasn't enough of the clowns. I needed more of the clowns.
I mean, there's a lot of clowns, man.
There's a lot of clowns, but I need more scenes with the clowns.
That's fair. Yeah. Oh, this movie was just the whole like middle of the movie when it becomes a montage.
Uh-huh.
If the whole thing was just that, I'd be fine with it.
Like Saturday Night Live, but with the clowns.
Yeah.
Just a bunch of skits.
Yeah.
That would have been amazing.
100%, man. I'm there for it. Like,
Yeah. But this is definitely in my top of all the movies that we've seen.
Yeah?
Yeah.
Oh, thank God.
It was solid.
There are some hills that I'm always like, if you don't like Blair Witch, it's fine. It's an acquired taste, But like, if you were like, I don't like Killer Klowns, well, I guess the podcast is over. Like,
all right, we're not friends anymore.
Yeah,
we're not doing
your
podcasts.
desk.
That'd be impressive. If you could do that, I'd be like, okay.
Not even mad.
But yeah, it's a good movie. Wait, what? It's only 6.2 on IMDb? Hello?
I think something we're gonna have to talk about with this movie, we'll just get it out of the way at the top, is it is kind of a tribute to a certain kind of movie.
Uh-huh.
Like bad B movies from the 50s. Like that is very much what they're going for, right down to like the acting performances.
Yeah.
And I think some people mistake that as not intentional. And I do think there's some bad stuff in this that isn't intentional and makes it funnier and better. But like, I think people think overall like, I mean, how silly, what a ridiculous premise. These people are idiots. And it's like, no, they know it's a stupid premise. So I think for some people, like, it just doesn't work because they don't understand. Like, no, this is supposed to be campy.
Yeah.
This isn't Sharknado where, like, it was just inept and filmed really fast.
Yeah.
There's, like, thought and, like, care put into this movie that I think some people perhaps don't pick up on. And I guess that's fine. But you're wrong, and I hate you. Yeah. So.
Yeah, because I totally got it from the beginning.
Yeah.
I was like, this is... It knows what kind of movie it is.
Right. When you hire a punk band like the Dickies, who have other songs, including a song that they sing with a penis puppet from the point of view of the singer's penis. I love the Dickies. To write your theme song about clowns, you kind of know what movie you're making. Like,
that's a bummer.
Yeah. So I think that's part of it. And then, I joke about like, oh, if you don't like this movie, like I hate you, but like I don't. Like I get it. Not art is subjective. It doesn't work for everybody. So I think it's people who genuinely are like, it just didn't work for me. 4 out of 10 or whatever, Yeah. And then there are people that are like, clearly these people are idiots. 2 stars. Like,
I mean, hey, I get it. All of the people like in the movie or like their characters are unlikable, but the clowns are great.
Yeah.
I was there for the clowns.
Tiny's the best.
Yeah. What are you going to do? Knock my block off?
This movie is perfect.
how to look up the clown names, just so we can talk about that at some point.
I'm just fine with it. They're clowns. Like, I'm into it, except for Tiny because he's the best.
Well, I want to just go through.
Oh, of course,
and point out all their names.
Should we just do it at the top, or do you want to do it as we go?
I don't see Tiny though on it.
Oh, I've always heard him referred to as Tiny. Maybe I was wrong.
Yeah, because there's a Shorty in the
Shorty.
list.
I had it wrong. That's my fault. It's Shorty.
So redacted. Yeah. Shorty.
Go back in and edit this into every time I said Tiny. Shorty. You could just drop that in. Yes,
the best clown was
Shorty.
No, you have to do it in the horror trailer voice.
Shorty.
From Horror Master Shorty.
Yes.
But where were we? What were we?
I think we were about to jump into the movie.
Yeah.
I love this movie. It opens with one of my favorite movie theme songs ever by a band I love, the Dickies. If anyone at home is going to go Google the Dickies, I know they have said some things that were meant to be jokes that perhaps weren't great. I won't get into it. I understand that. And if you can't like them, that's okay.
And I listen to hip hop, so I don't know what we're talking about right now.
They're like an 80s like shock rock punk band. I've seen them a bunch of times. I have a Dickies shirt with a Killer Clown on it at home. You know, they're fun.
Is that what you wore to Horror Nights?
No, I wore my a knockoff shirt for the band The Killers, where it is Jason Voorhees at a roulette table because they're from Vegas.
That's right. We got some good shirts.
We do.
Which, by the way, Matt and I just found out that Matt Makes Zach Watch Horror Movies is going to have a table at Midsummer Scream 2020.
Yeah. Oh, imagine that.
Where we can wear our cool horror shirts.
If you want to see our cool shirts, come by.
Yeah.
And say hello.
Yeah. If you come by and tell us that you are a listener already, we'll give you a sticker or something.
Yeah.
But Killer Clown, Dickies, you're talking about the Dickies.
Yeah. But I love this theme song. It's my favorite Dickies song. Like, that's the easy answer. But I mean, if you didn't know from this movie, if you saw Kick-Ass when a hit girl is killing everybody to the Banana Splits theme song, that's them.
But Killer Klowns opens with the gnarly
killer theme.
A killer theme, which I knew about because of the maze.
Yeah, they played it all throughout the maze, like to the point where even I was a little bit like, oh,
which
time 50. It's great in a little bit.
There were other amazing tracks in this entire movie.
The theme is fantastic from the composer. Like
there was like little horns in one song that I was dying because it was so good.
Composer John Massari. Yes, he did a great job.
John Massari about that joke.
Get out, Zach. I'm getting a new host. Find me another Zach. It's too late to change the title.
We're doing Killer Klowns. I got to come with my jokes today.
I really like the other music in this movie too by him. It's very good.
I mean, it was no blah, 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 but
right. What is? He's not killing any snitches, so clearly he's not as good as Attack the Block. But
the movie opens at, what was it? Makeout
Point. I don't even remember what they call it. Like
top of the mountain.
Top of the world. Yeah. Well, actually, the movie first opens as they go through town following Officer Mooney, the asshole old cop.
Yeah. The boomer.
As he just the boomer.
Officer Boomer, as I will refer to him from now on.
As he just kind of goes through town, we get to see like all the teenagers. We get to see the teenager in the glasses. This will probably mean nothing to you, Zach, but was played by a young Christopher Titus, stand-up comic and star of the show Titus from when I was a kid.
Yep. I mean,
he's pretty funny.
Cool. Yeah,
he's the one carrying just 2 bags of beer.
Officer Boomer's like, you son of a bitch.
And he just doesn't he walk by and just going, man, fuck cops.
I think he's just walking by. Like,
no, like after he hears him say like son of a bitch, he's like, fucking cops.
Well, he didn't have Bob glasses, so I didn't pay attention.
He did have glasses.
He had glasses, but
they were not Bob glasses. That's fair. That's fair, Zach.
Officer Bob came at the end.
Yeah. She showed up.
Lady Bob.
Lady Bob.
Officer Bobette.
Yeah. But we're jumping ahead. So now we follow them up to Makeout Point, or top of the world. It's Makeout Point. I don't know. Like, I love all the like little details of how all the couples are in the cars differently. It's a nice little touch. Our main characters, Mike Tobacco and Debbie Stone. Like, if you couldn't tell this was like they're in on the joke, just look up the names. His name is Mike Tobacco. Are laying in an inflatable raft on the top of his car.
It was like a hatchback.
Oh, you're right.
Yeah.
You're right.
Yeah, because they all had hatchbacks.
Yeah,
they were all in the
80s.
You know, with it open and all of them making an open view of each other.
You know how you do.
You're on the top of the world.
Like, there are so many things that are intentionally and delightfully unclear in this movie. Are they having a party, or are they all just up there to make out? I don't really know, and I'm fine with it.
I think the movie is just like teenagers.
Okay, are they teenagers or are they college students?
Oh yeah. Well,
I don't know.
The two college students that Officer Boomer later arrested,
the punks.
They were they got to be in their 40s.
Oh yeah, because Mike Tobacco is so young. Mike Tobacco is older than I am in this movie, guaranteed.
I mean, the two college punks that got arrested, they had some Patrick Wilson foreheads going on.
That was intentional, Zach. Punks.
They were drinking wine. They were like, oh, it's just a little
They're
bit of
supposed
wine.
to be like punky goth kids. Like, that's the bit.
It was upsetting. Regardless.
So back at Makeout Point, though, in the beginning of the movie, they see what looks to be a shooting star, and they decide to go track it down.
You also cut to some dude just chilling with his dog. See it go by, and he goes, "I'll be hornswoggled. Did you see that little sky go be zip down in there, Blue?" And I was like, what?
Zach had to rewind the movie 3 times and then put on subtitles.
I needed to write it down.
And I guess deep down I'm a redneck, because I was like, you didn't follow that? I got it totally. It's fine. His dog's name is Pooh, and he's hornswoggled.
It's like, now Taylor's coming. There's going to be thousands of people. They're going to want hot dogs.
Yeah, but that's like a trope from old like sci-fi B movies from the 50s. Is there's always like the like farmer who's gonna go investigate
with Pooh Bear.
Yeah, and that's even in like old horror comics. It even pops up in a movie we'll watch eventually. It pops up in Creepshow. Yeah, there's always the guy who's like, oh, I'll go make money off of it. Hey, it's on my land, you know.
I guess it's because it's just a cartoon character that you don't have emotional attachment to.
Right, it's a great first kill.
Yeah.
Like,
but Pooh Bear.
Oh,
poor little
Pooh Bear. Winnie the Pooh Bear.
I mean, he just Pooh Bear and his master are the first ones to find where the comet landed is a giant tent.
Yeah, he's just like, oh, also the circus must be in town.
Oh, maybe I can get a free ticket. Come on, Pooh. A little like hatch on the side.
Oh, that's right. It's a little net.
Yeah, and one of the clowns just gets a butterfly catch.
Because they're cartoons, and I love it.
It's great. And snatches Pooh Bear
How
up.
can people not understand what this movie is?
I know. It's great. But then he gets snatched up too.
Yeah, he gets real mad. He touches the tent and electrocutes him. Mm-hmm. And then they come out. The clowns are great.
Yeah.
The design of the clowns in this movie is fantastic. I should say the part of the reason the effects in this movie are so good and really like well timed and well shot are the 3 brothers who directed this movie, the Kyoto brothers. Or Chiodo. I've never been sure how to pronounce it. I've heard it said both ways, but they're actually were well known at the time for being makeup effects artists. A lot of the design of this movie makes more sense when you find out they did all the makeup and special effects for Pee-wee's Big Adventure.
Oh shit!
Like they did the large Marge face. That's them.
It all makes sense.
Yeah, it's like, oh, Tim Burton.
Oh yes.
Yeah,
everything makes sense.
Yeah,
man, we should have done this after Mars Attacks. Or along with it.
They would have been nice companion pieces. Because they're kind of trying to do the same thing.
Yeah.
I would argue this movie is perhaps more successful, but...
Mars Attacks, the characters were the fun part. In this, the clowns are the fun part.
The monsters are what you're here for. Yeah. And I think that's more in line with like an old B movie.
Yeah, because in Mars Attacks, it was too distracting of like Jack Nicholson,
right?
This person, that person.
Well, that's borrowed from like disaster movies of the era too. But
in this, it's like Jumbo, Fatso, Shorty, Rudy, Spiky, Slim, Bibbo, Chubby, Joe, Maggery, Talls, Storefront, Frank, Boko.
Okay, they keep giving them all different names. Some of those are the same clowns. I'm pretty sure.
As well as female killer clowns and baby killer clowns.
Yeah.
Commanded by JoJo the Clownzilla.
Oh, I love Clownzilla.
I just really needed to know their names, so I looked it up. So there you go. You're welcome. But yeah, and then Mike and Debbie, Little Debbie.
Yes. Oh, she said they... Do we see what they do to the farmer? I'm trying to remember.
I think he just snap. Oh, he pulls out his gun and it shoots.
But we don't see what happens to him yet, right?
He just kind of like, brrr, and then I cut.
So Mike and Debbie arrive next and just go straight in.
Well, yeah, because
not suspicious to them at all. Not weird.
Also, Mike, he kept going in between like a cartoon character voice and a Christopher Walken impression, like throughout the entire movie.
That's intentional, though. That actor is like going for it. Like he
went for it.
Yeah, he definitely is like with the clowns, and that he's like, no, I know what movie I'm in.
Yeah.
Because he had, by this point, I think he had done New Year's Evil, which is like a weird, corny slasher where he's really weird again.
Mm-hmm.
So I think that might have just been his MO as like an actor, was like, you need somebody to be weird in your horror movie? Cool. Oh, my goodness. How did we forget? We also find out he has two best friends while he's up at Makeout Point. Two of the greatest characters in the history of cinema. The Terenzi brothers.
Rich and Paul.
Yes. I love the Terenzi brothers so much.
Who think, you know what'll get us, babes?
Ice cream truck.
Ice cream truck. But you love ice cream.
Yeah. Hey, it's working. They've got two girls in the back of their truck.
Who are just like, nah, fuck you guys.
Who the movie also immediately fat shames for no real reason.
They're strictly there for the ice cream and no other reason.
This movie is of a certain era.
Oh, yeah. I do appreciate that the only like sexism in it was really from Officer Boomer, and it knew.
Yeah, like clearly, like I would guess the Chiodos guys are probably, you know, old punk dudes. So they're probably like, nah, man, the scene, cops suck. They're mean to women.
Yeah, because like Friday the 13th, that one was like, yiker.
Yeah.
That one was a big yike.
No, yeah, that's. I mean, like I've said many times, Friday the 13th, I love it, but yeah, I got no defense for those movies. This movie, I'm like, no, it's in on like.
It also came out 8 years later. 88. Wait,
yeah.
Friday the 13th. Yeah, Friday the 13th was 80.
Yeah, and this is 88. So
same year as They Live.
Yeah, it's a good year.
Good year indeed. So Mike and Debbie.
Yeah. They go track down the circus tent and just go right on in, because Mike's just like, it's the Cirque de Fantastique. It's French.
It's one of those European circuses.
He's really into. He must really be like. Today he'd be the guy who's like, I'm on the Cirque du Soleil blog all day, every day. I know what's shit. Up. I am a man of culture.
And then he immediately goes, half man, half woman, the perfect double date.
He just starts doing like he's doing like a sideshow at a circus. Yeah. I'm like, I thought you thought this was a cool artsy one.
Yeah.
Mike, you're full of shit, Mike Tobacco. You don't know anything about art.
You're just trying to impress little Debbie.
Yeah.
Which, as they start exploring, I did not know that I needed a spaceship designed by clowns.
Oh, the design, the clowns, the set design. This movie goes for it.
Yeah, I love it.
It's so well done.
I really hope that this year at Horror Nights they do this maze again. Because now I just want to look at everything now that I've seen the movie.
I don't know if they'll repeat a movie.
Yeah.
So they're wandering around. What is this place? Designed by Clowns R Us. A pun on par with your own, Zach.
Like I said, we're doing this movie. I gotta bring it.
Oh yeah, they just start wandering around and they start realizing like, no, this is really creepy. And the set design gets progressively weirder until they hit like the heart of the ship, which is like the reactor from like the Death Star or something.
Obi-Wan's like shimmying on a ledge up there.
Yeah. Wouldn't it be great if at the end when it's lowering Clownzilla, it's actually just a little tiny Babu Frick?
No, he's the puppet master at the top. He's controlling Clownzilla.
Yes.
Hey.
Have you heard about our Lord and Savior, Babu Frick?
Listen to our last episode.
This is now a Babu Frick fan cast, by the way.
Listen to our last episode.
Yes.
But anyways, then
in this movie.
Then they get to the cotton candy room.
Yeah. Which this movie does a really good job of balancing like the like throwback to 50s like B movies and like, oh, this is actually kind of upsetting. Because it's just a face covered in blood inside a ball of cotton candy.
Which, going through the maze, I thought they were punching bags with people inside them.
It's the top of them, it looks like. Yeah, because they're like hanging from stuff.
So it's like, oh, that makes more sense. Because I was like, I guess Shorty has
those boxing gloves.
But yeah, and then the clown catches them as they try to escape.
And he goes and it's edited like an action movie sequence when he goes to get his like bazooka
with like popcorn popping in it, and he shoots popcorn at him.
And the popcorn launches out behind him just as they get out in the nick of time. They're like, what the fuck?
The exact quote is, popcorn? Why popcorn? 'Cause they're clowns, that's why.
That is like this movie in a nutshell. Like clearly like someone from the studio must have asked the Kyoto brothers like a dumb question of like, well, but I don't understand why everything is circus themed. Aren't they aliens? You're gonna have to add a line in ADR explaining that. And this must have just been them like, fuck you, here's our movie. Because they're clowns.
That's why.
Yeah.
Yeah, and then they run away with popcorn all over them.
She's like, we got to go to the cops. Cut to the cops. We catch up with police officer Boomer. He's just abusing two like supposedly like 19-year-olds.
These 40-year-old college students sipping wine.
Hey man, everybody's got to go back to school sometimes. Like,
I mean, good on them.
It's never too late.
Because I also like how the punks weren't even like aggressive or like, fuck you, man. They're just like, it was
I don't know what's happening.
Why? He's just like,
I mean, missed opportunity. It should have just been the Dickies.
Yeah, that's what I was thinking. It should have been. And then you meet Officer Millennial, Dave. Officer Boomer and Officer Millennial don't get along.
But his real name is Deputy Dave.
Deputy Dave.
Who seems like a good dude. I mock him, but he is like the like voice of reason in the police department. Clearly,
he was not the only non-clown that I was like rooting for.
Yeah,
because he was the only one who wasn't like a cartoon character.
Right. He's in a whole other movie.
Yeah,
in the best way possible.
Yeah, he's the Luke Skywalker.
Yeah,
which is a good old boy.
I don't even have a joke. It's just really funny to me to picture him as Luke Skywalker. But Debbie and Mike show up, and she knows Deputy Dave because they used to date. Which immediately makes Mr. Tobacco very jealous. But they start telling him like, look, I don't care if you're upset that she's with me now. Like, someone died.
Yeah, and then they drive Debbie home. So,
but first, Officer Boomer, some foreshadowing, says, you go ahead and help them then. They can make a dummy out of you, but they won't make a dummy out of me. Yeah, this movie's good.
Like I said, this is the movie where you bring the puns.
Yes.
But then they drop Debbie off, and freaking Dave comes in with the sickest burn of all time. Because Mike is like, oh, I didn't know, man. And Dave goes, yeah, it's fine. It's not about you. I guess she prefers jokes to stability.
Yeah.
Like, damn.
Oh, shit.
Damn. All right, this guy right here, he's going to make it to the end.
Yeah.
He's the Luke Skywalker.
Yes.
He's skywalking on these haters right now.
Yep. Or they get out to where the tent was, and it is now gone. And he says, wait, like, you do hang out with those Terenzi assholes.
Those ice cream
You must have made this up. I'm going to arrest you. Like, fuck you, dude. But he also keeps being like bud and kid to him. So I'm like, is he supposed to be like 15?
Yeah.
I'm so confused in the best way.
They seem like the same age, but he keeps calling everybody bud.
Yeah. And then I'm also like, so wait, how old does that make Debbie if they used to date? But I think that's part of this movie, because that's how all those movies from the 50s are too, like where Steve McQueen plays a high schooler.
Yeah.
And you're like, Steve McQueen is like 45. Like, what are you doing?
Yeah.
It's a call out on the Blob. It's about time someone said it.
And I don't know what's happening.
The Blob, it's a classic. It consumes everything.
Is it a horror movie?
Yeah.
We'll watch it at some point.
You don't know what the Blob is?
Do you not know the premise of this podcast, Matt?
I just thought that's like a movie everyone has seen, like the old trailer clip for.
I haven't seen Halloween until this podcast.
But you knew what Halloween was.
Well, that's true. Still, this is the premise. I don't know.
Getting like real afraid to bring up any movies with like bad remakes from like, what about The Day the Earth Stood Still? And you're like, with Keanu Reeves?
I was literally thinking that.
No.
I was literally thinking the one with Keanu Reeves, right? All right, calm down, Officer Boomer. I know The Day the Earth Stood Still. I know the original.
About Klaatu?
I don't know what you just said, but I know it's a black and white film without Keanu Reeves. I know. I haven't seen it, but I know. Continue with the movie.
Now we get to really like the meat of the movie, in that it's just like, yeah, you know that there are humans in it, but what about the clowns? Because the clowns now have discovered that there's a city near where they landed.
And they just...
It's just a montage of clowns being clowns.
It starts the theme again as they walk in, and it's the best.
Yeah.
Jumbo, Fatso, Shorty, Rudy, Spiky, Slim, Bibbo, Chubby, Cho, Marjorie?
I don't know. It's a clown.
Marjorie. Tall storefront, Frank, and Boko. They go loco. I wonder
and Babu Frick.
And Babu Frick. I wonder if storefront's the one that stands in front of the store and starts.
Do you think?
I wonder if Shorty's the small one. Jumbo's got to be the big one.
But that's our first introduction to the clowns is storefront.
He sees an animatronic ape, and
he
then
just starts doing it so that people walk by him and go into the store, and then he kills them.
And then literally throughout a majority of the movie, that clown and another clown are
they're just shopping.
Yeah, and the storefront guy, not the storefront clown, is just sitting there like, what
do you do in that scenario? I'm too high for this shit. This whole movie isn't, I'm too high for this, man.
I mean, it was so funny though, because he didn't run out, he didn't die immediately. He was just like, what?
They're ruining my store.
Can I help you? Can I help you? All this shit. I forgot about my favorite part about this whole movie.
Okay.
When Mike and Debbie run out, two clowns run out, and then one makes a balloon animal dog, sets it down, and it starts running. It goes bark bark.
It's for tracking.
It's for tracking. It's a balloon animal dog. That was the They Live. He starts seeing aliens and spitting one-liners moment for me.
Oh yeah, 100%.
That's when the movie went from good to great. But the puppet show was so good.
One of the clowns just doing a puppet show, and a guy just walks up and watches it
in the middle of nowhere in a gazebo.
And then I love that the puppet is just like pulls out a gun and shoots the other puppet, and then just slowly turns,
and it has an menacingly angry face.
And the guy's like, "Oh no!" And gets turned into a cotton candy ball.
Yeah, it's so good. I love all the gags.
But I love that, again, like it balances the creepy, because when it stands up out of like the puppet theater that it's built, it's actually kind of creepy. Like when you see the size of the thing and it all breaks around him, it's really well done.
Yeah.
The masks in this movie are amazing too. The way the ears twitch when they're like excited.
The fact that they just move at all is like insane.
So good.
People will probably disagree. I don't know if you'll disagree, but this is like the type of movie that like I would have liked as a kid.
I saw this as a kid.
You saw it as a kid?
Yeah. I saw it when I was like 12.
Yeah.
Because this should tell you a lot about my family. I was talking to my sister, who I mentioned before, about turning me on to punk bands and things and getting me into Tim Burton. Her and her husband. And I was like, oh, I'm terrified of clowns. And her husband just like hops up off the couch, comes back with a VHS tape and says, I know what we're watching tonight. And they're like, you're going to love it.
Did it make you more scared of clowns or less scared?
About even.
It's the same.
Yeah. Because on one hand, because at the time I was really into makeup effects. Like I thought like I could do that. Yeah. Maybe I'll do that for a living.
Yeah.
So I was like, wow, that's really impressive. And then some of the stuff in this movie is actually scary. So I was like, oh no.
Yeah. Because it was like what Neil Gaiman said. The only people that think Coraline is scary is parents.
Oh yeah. You could totally do this as like a Saturday morning cartoon show about people fighting evil clowns from space.
Now, is there Killer Klowns like animated series?
There is not.
Let's start that Kickstarter. Let's make it happen. Because that would be great.
It would be pretty fantastic. But in this movie,
what other gags?
The pizza gag. When they show up just with a stack of box of pizzas. I love that she isn't like, what the fuck? Why is a clown delivering me pizza? She just goes, oh, pizza.
And then two other clowns show up, and then she's like, oh no.
And then Shorty pops out of the box. Shorty's my favorite.
I knew Shorty was gonna be my favorite just from the maze.
Yeah, his design is so like good.
A little fun story about the maze. We went with our group of friends, and me and a friend, Jared, were walking through it, and there was a Jack in the Box just going up. So we both like stand there. Everybody else had gone forward, so we stand there and look because we want to see what happens. And then fucking Shorty pops out of the Jack in the Box and squirts both of us in the face with water out of a water gun, like in the eyes. It was so good.
It was pretty funny.
But there's the burger.
Oh, place. That's one of the ones that's like actually like, oh, that's creepy. Like I made the joke while we were watching it. This is my favorite scene from It Chapter 2. There's a scene that plays like this in It Chapter 2, just not as funny.
Yeah.
But yeah, there's a little girl in a burger place and the clown is outside and waves to her and is trying to get her to come out. And she almost goes.
Yeah.
And like, it's one of those moments where like, it's like, oh, they could make like a good like horror movie if they wanted to. They just don't want to.
Yeah. He has like a mallet behind his back
that's
too.
A great bit.
Yeah.
So like the whole time it's like, oh, that's really creepy, that's really scary, and then he literally like almost snaps his fingers like darn, and we see he has a mallet.
Because her mom is like, come back inside.
Yeah.
Which, how did she not see him?
Well, I will. The restaurant that they're at, I don't know if you noticed, it is like clown themed. So I think the implication was the little girl thought it was part of the restaurant, and so her mom was probably like, "Yeah, they hired a clown, whatever."
Yeah.
Then he gets frustrated and he goes and drops some popcorn into a trash can.
Yeah, which we don't know about yet.
Yes,
because that's later. Oh, right after the pizza, there's like the chocolate.
She thinks it's a,
and she turns around. She's like, "Jim, what's this? You?"
She thinks it's like one of those like telegrams, like the singing telegrams.
Yeah.
It is not. Because then he just pulls out a gun. Still attached to a puppet.
I loved it whenever the puppets came up and like,
they're so perfectly bad puppets too.
Yeah. It's so good.
Oh, and then we get to why Shorty's my favorite.
Oh yeah,
it's my favorite kill in the movie.
That was so good. Just that whole bit.
This is when the movie for me goes from good to great to fucking excellent.
Mm-hmm. Absolutely.
Much like They Live.
Also a fight in an alley.
Yes,
fist fight in an alley.
Shorty rides up to a gang of motorcycles. Biker gang, yeah, thank you. A gang of motorcycles.
Just imagine just motorcycles, no people.
Yeah. Same scene though. On his tricycle, and they all start making fun of him. Mm-hmm. And then one of them crosses the line with Shorty by taking his tricycle and smashing it.
Well, first he asks if he can ride it, and Shorty's like, no. But he asks if he can toot the little horn, and Shorty's like, yeah. Which I was like, oh, Shorty's a nice guy.
Shorty. Good guy Shorty.
Good guy Shorty. The real hero.
Yeah. This dude breaks the bike, like picks it up over his head and like smashes it. It's kind of like I know we're against the clowns even at this point, but I was like, oh,
yeah,
hey man, I know he murdered 2 people, but geez,
he gave you consent to boop the little horn.
Then Shorty just jumps away like a cartoon and comes back and he's got boxing gloves. He's doing like the rope-a-dope, like, why I oughta.
And he's like, what are you going to do?
Knock my block off?
Yeah, knock my block off.
And then he
uppercuts him. And his head goes flying up into the trash can. And the bikers are like, fuck that shit, I'm out.
What does the one say? Like, no, fuck that. Like, he literally like just says that. Like, and I'll just leave.
Yeah. They weren't like, oh, we can all take them. They're like, nope, bye.
Nope, I don't fuck with clowns. I love also when they cut to the wide shot and the body just crumples.
Yeah.
It's so well done. And then we get to the other really good kill, like that most people know from this movie, the shadow puppets.
Oh, yeah.
Because at this point, Mr. Tobacco and Officer Millennial are back in town. He's starting to come around because they saw a car filled with cotton candy. So he's like, maybe this guy isn't bullshitting me.
Mm-hmm.
And then they see a clown making shadow puppets at a bus station.
I like how he like waved at the people. Yes. Too. He was like,
hello. Like he's giving them a show.
Yeah. Like how we talked about Michael Myers and Ghostface. Like the actors behind the mask, they're acting too.
Yeah.
Like even though they're not talking or anything, they're still acting the physical performance.
It's so good.
It's so good because I love the way the finger puppet guy waves.
Yeah.
He's just like,
oh, hello. I'm a clown. Would you like me to do a show for you?
Yeah. And
he does some pretty impressive, especially considering he only has 4 fingers.
Yeah.
Like at one point he makes like Washington crossing the Delaware. Yeah. Then he makes a T-Rex
that eats them
all. And the only time I've ever seen someone have an appropriate reaction in a horror movie, Mike Tobacco and Officer Millennial just go, oh shit. and immediately like hit him with the car. He saw us.
Which another thing about the maze, they had that scene in the maze and that was like my favorite because the clown like waves to you as you go by and he
the people in the maze were killing it.
Yeah.
Oh, we forgot the other good kill that has a great fun fact tied to it. Right before this is the car. The invisible car.
Oh yeah.
Which is great. He one of the clowns pulls up besides another car on like a dark road on a cliff for some reason.
And the guy looks and the car's invisible. He's like, oh no.
Oh no. And then the clown runs him off the road.
Yeah.
Into like it falls all the way down, flips, and then catches on fire.
Yeah.
That was a rented car.
Oh, no.
It was only supposed to kind of go down the hill, and then they would switch it to another car to like blow up, like one that the shell of the car just flipped and caught fire. So they were like, well, I guess we have to put that in the movie because now we have to buy this fucking car.
Yeah.
Which is just great.
Yeah. How'd they do the invisible car?
No idea. I as much as I love effects and finding out like, oh, how did they do it? I don't want to know.
Yeah.
Like this movie is like kind of magic for me.
Yeah. Because when they cut to the wide, it was clearly like stop motion.
Yeah.
But when it was like close, I was like, what the
I mean, I assume paint a chair black, paint some sticks black with lights on it, and it'll look like, you know. You were right. It does need more clowns. Like now I'm thinking about it. Like,
I just want a movie of that.
There's enough clowns in this.
Yeah, there's enough, but I still want more. Yeah. I want less of the cartoonish people and more of the cartoonish clowns. Because also in the grocery store, the 2 clowns are fucking around with everything.
Yes.
And like one of them like sprays.
I would like to see that whole movie.
Yeah, yeah, just them checking out everything in the grocery store. But yeah, and then you figure out what the popcorn is.
Yes, because we cut back to Debbie and the popcorn. It's a great effect. It starts crawling across the floor. Which I'm sure it's just
stop
magnets
motion.
in a false floor or something.
It seemed like stop motion because it kind of like it looks like it's
you're true. It does
crawling.
kind of like it's got legs.
Yeah, which is like so
good.
So imaginative and like just thinking of the popcorn and how the
only guys who like know how to make that happen would say we could do that.
Yeah,
like that's why like it's so interesting knowing that they're makeup artists that they were like, oh well, here's how we could do it. Let's try it.
which
I love.
Which really is what puts this movie in like the top for me.
Right. That's what, like, how do people think they didn't care or didn't know?
Yeah.
Like,
because like
so
that's
good.
That's the main like me as an animator, that I love giving life to things that don't, like inanimate objects. I love Pixar shorts for that reason. They make inanimate things have character and emotion.
Because it almost looks like it has little feet on the popcorn,
like
just off the base of a piece of popcorn.
Yeah. And you find out later they're little baby clowns.
Yeah.
That's what the popcorn
I love those
is.
clown snake things.
They're baby clowns, apparently. That's what they're credited.
The only thing that bums me out about this version that we see now is it was something we would always, like, when pitching this movie to people, I would always mention, but once they put it out on DVD and Blu-ray, I don't know if they fixed it, and I don't blame them for doing it. But, and this is how my brother-in-law sold the movie to me, was you used to be able to see, as they would pop out of things, the performer's arm underneath. Which just adds to the feeling of like a bad B movie of this. Yeah. But like, I get why they would be like, can we fix that now?
But yeah. And then they snatch up Debbie in a little like orange ball instead of cotton candy, which I was like, why?
Yeah.
I don't understand what makes Debbie
the movie
so special.
needs to keep going.
Yeah.
They need to have a damsel in distress, which kind of sucks because they do a pretty good job of making her relatively, like, they kind of make you think like she's gonna be like kind of proactive and like she'll be fighting the clowns too, and then they're just like, nah.
She just took a shower and got attacked by
it's a little bit of a bummer because like early on she's really pushing back, like, no, I want to help, I want to get the clowns, and you're like, oh cool, and then the closest thing I have to is a knock on this movie, but that's very throwback and intentional. So
instead you got Officer Millennial, Christopher Walken, and Tweedledee Tweedledum. Real heroes.
The dream team. By this point we should say Officer Boomer has had a number of calls coming in that he's just chosen to ignore.
Yeah, he's like, they're all trying to prank me and get me off the force.
Well, yeah, and you know what? Can't blame them if they are. Yeah. You're a pretty shitty cop.
Yeah, you're kind of terrible. But then a clown comes in.
He's like, clearly they've hired a clown.
Yeah.
And he, some great gags when he puts the handcuffs around him and he walks away and he's just got hands. He took his hands off. And he like, again, waves to him like, doo-loo.
And he like peeks around the corner like, you coming?
Yeah.
I thought you arrested me.
And then just lets him put him in the cell with the two punks.
And then he smacks him on the back of the head with his pistol.
Yeah, because again, he wants to just abuse prisoners.
Yeah, and then the clown's head just turns around.
Oh, that's so great.
Style.
And that's where like this movie goes like, oh no, we're also making a horror movie. Don't forget.
Really spooked Officer Boomer. But then he has a little
like a party favor. Yeah. The little thing you blow on and it unravels.
Yeah, and it chokes him.
Slams him up against the bars and chokes him to death. Love it.
And then the two punks are like, so what are you here for? Which then I just wanted the clown to become friends with the punks. Right. Then Officer Millennial and
Mike
Tobacco show up to the police office.
And it's all dark and it's real creepy. And this is the part that actually scared me as a child.
There's just a red footprint.
Yeah.
Clown shoe footprint.
He's using him as the puppet.
Yeah.
Like, what's the problem? We just want to kill you.
Hey, Dave.
Hey, remember when the clowns were funny?
I mean, that's the part where we all cheered because it's like, yeah, fuck off.
Well, yeah. Boomer. I mean, obviously. But I love that then they're like, no, it's still funny because when he takes his hand out, it makes that.
Yeah, and he goes, and he's just like wipes it.
Yeah.
I love that. And then Officer Millennial just right in the nose.
Shoots him in the nose. That's how we discover that's their weakness because it makes them like blow up.
I love how they die because they just go and
turn into like a crystal and then explode.
It's so cool.
Yeah. So imaginative.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, this movie is definitely got creativity points for sure.
It's brimming with ideas.
Mm-hmm.
So they split up. Mike Tobacco goes to find help from his best friends, the Terenzi brothers, who do not believe him. But he lures them to Debbie's house by promising she's got roommates with big boobs and they like ice cream. And the Terenzi brothers, being the greatest characters in all of cinema, were like, hell yeah.
They're the ones who ask, do they like ice cream?
Yeah.
And they run into the clown parade,
and they're like,
just killing everybody.
Again, only movie with appropriate reactions, because they're also like, oh shit.
Nope.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But I love that their whole concern is, well, we can't not help you chase these clowns. Why? This car's a rental.
And
they can do a high-speed chase.
Yeah. Where would the clowns hide? The amusement park, of course.
Yeah, which is great. And then we see them. I give this movie just like, this must have been intentional. Why do they need to break into the amusement park if their spaceship is already there?
Because there's a guard.
Yeah. I love that they have to kill the guard, and I love that they kill him with pies.
Because they show up, and the one old man guard is like,
we're closed, boys.
What? I was waiting for this the whole movie. The clown car is just a tiny car. They're all coming out. And then he's like, we're closed. And they all pull out pies. And he goes, love it. What are you going to do with those pies, boys? Like a standoff. And then they just clobber them with pies and walk in.
And then we realize the pies melt you.
Yeah. And then Shorty just leaves a little cherry on top.
Yeah, because Shorty's the best, and he respects the dead.
Because
the dead speak. So
Shorty is wise and smart, and I'm so proud of him.
But now everyone converges on the tent in the amusement park, and it's showdown time. Officer Millennial takes out his shotgun and his handgun and is just ready to wreck shop. I believe they just drive the ice cream truck into the thing.
No, not yet.
Not yet?
No.
They don't drive it through? They just walk through?
They just walk through.
Oh, okay.
Another top scene. All of a sudden, the brothers fall through a trapdoor into a ball pit. And there's two lady clowns.
Yes, whose boobs magically grow. And are you Debbie's roommates? Do you like ice cream?
You want to read something fucked up?
You got to cut that one out.
Yeah, because no one will understand it other than us. Yeah, and then Officer Millennial and Dave continue onward.
Yes, and finally they stumble upon Debbie. They find the balloon she's in and they pop it. And now it's all three of them on the run because the clowns have found them.
Yeah, and then they find a door. And
there's another door. And another door.
And another door. And it's a tiny little door that they have to crawl through.
I love it. Okay. Another door. His line reads are so good.
That's how he talks.
But it's clearly a choice. And I love that that's his choice. Originally, this scene was much longer, and it was just them going through different, like, crazy little rooms. But, like, the effects, like, even, I think, because they're effects guys, that's like the one thing in this movie that they're like, no, we want it to be like, I'm not saying that this movie isn't genuinely good, but like unironically good. Like the effects in this movie, like a lot of this movie is like schlocky and campy and like that's its charm, but the effects are not that way. The effects are just awesome.
Yeah.
And I think the effects apparently weren't quite up to par from what I've heard. Like there was one room where the one that stuck with me in the deleted scenes where it's supposed to be tightrope stairs. And it's kind of cool, like, but it's clearly them walking on actual steps that have just been blacked out and have a line put over it. So like, I would love to see like go back Exorcist style and like remaster the scene with the good effects and
that's what I love about like people who work in the industry than making movies.
Yeah,
because they understand quality.
This isn't gonna fly. Yeah,
so let's cut it instead of leaving it in.
Yeah,
there's a bar.
Those Chiodos, they're smart.
Cheekiotos, they're cheeky.
Please get at me, guys, because I have seen so many different people say your name both ways. I respect you guys too much to keep doing this. Please let me know.
In the movie, they're in the final stand.
They think like, oh, we're finally in safety. And then every clown comes out. I love it.
All the clowns.
All of them are so well designed. And like obviously like a lot of them are just in like masks that don't move, but they're still really cool masks.
That at that point I was like, oh god, did he kill Shorty and I missed it because so much was going on?
Did Shorty die? Wait.
And then Shorty comes up and
front
like,
and center.
Oh, thank you. Is he okay? Is he safe?
My baby boy.
And then they're on like this little mountaintop and they're try kicking them away.
Yeah, and then the Terenzis break in through a wall with their ice cream truck.
And that has a clown head on top, and they have a speaker.
So they start convincing them like Jojo. Wizard of Oz style.
I am Jojo. Leave them alone.
Yeah. I am Jojo the Great and Powerful.
Which, like, all the aliens speak alien language. Why would Jojo the all-powerful speak English?
But it works.
Yeah.
I love it.
And they also have giant kissy marks all over their face.
And their clothes are ripped off.
Yeah.
They fucked those clowns.
Those guys fuck.
Yes. Good for them.
Yeah, they did it. And then they run to the ice cream truck, and then Clownzilla.
Clownzilla, played by one of the Chiodos himself. Apparently that was the one like effect that they were very like, we'll take this one.
We got this.
Because I think they even like did the sculpt on like the clown face and stuff, because they were like, well, no, this is like the climax of the film. We have a very specific idea. I love that he comes in on marionette strings. Everything about it's so good. I love that that's their god.
Yeah.
And then they're like, oh, our bad. You guys fucked up. Bye.
And then he smashes Jojo and tosses the ice cream truck and explodes with the brothers still inside. And they're like, no.
And I was like, no.
Mike Tobacco and Debbie make it out.
Yes. Well, Dave distracts Clownzilla, who grabs him, but he can't. He's all out of bullets. What will he do?
Grabs his police officer. That was intense. His police badge and just
bam
right on his nose. Explodes him.
And then he explodes so hard it blows up their whole spaceship, which by now has begun floating into the air. Just as Mike and Debbie make it out and meet the other cops who they called for as backup earlier.
The state police,
where we meet Lady Bob.
It's a police officer lady with giant Bob glasses
who like don't even do anything. They're just like, what?
Which she was also the only one. All the other cops like cocked their guns and aimed, and she just stand there like holding her gun.
Only appropriate reaction. Like, guys.
The knowledge of the Bob glasses is all knowing.
Then a flaming car just descends from the sky, the clown car from earlier.
And they're like,
they're
like, get ready for a clown to pop out.
I would have been so happy if it was just Shorty and he was like, no, peace.
Hey.
Yeah. Shorty and Bob are frick.
Oh, I know what I'm trying. But then it's Officer Millennial with his shirt all open. He's got his tank top. And then I don't know who's happier to see him, Debbie or Mike.
Yeah, because at this point they're gonna enter Officer Millennial. He's very understanding and open-minded. I believe they enter a lovely throuple polyamorous relationship where they all love each other equally, and that's nice.
But then the top of the car opens and it's the brothers.
Yeah.
They got ice cream covered in glitter.
And they're like, so how we literally Mike Tobacco's like, I saw you blow up.
Yeah.
No, we hid in the freezers.
Indiana Jones style.
Hell yeah.
He's like, you guys want some ice cream? But then a bunch of pies just like tossed down at him. So I'm like,
knowing what we know, they're not gonna be in Killer Klowns too.
Oh yeah, shit. I forgot about that. But I was like,
it's not a happy ending, really, actually. But
I was like, are the clowns all right then? Are they just like, fuck you guys?
This is a good ending.
Yeah. And then it ends.
Yeah. Stan Lee rocking it on the guitar there.
What?
Their guitarist is named Stan Lee. He really likes Spider-Man. He plays with like a red guitar that has a Spider-Man strap. That's great.
It's amazing.
It's fun behind the scenes things. Like I said, the Chiodos guys are makeup artists, so like the attention to detail in this movie is just nuts. They didn't officially do the makeup except for Clownzilla, but apparently they were very like hands-on and overseeing it. Super into like make it as detailed. Like, I mean, the ears move in this movie. I love it.
Yeah.
The Terenzi brother,
even like the noses like kind of like scrunch up and stuff.
Yeah, it's so good.
Yeah.
The Terenzi brothers, if you thought they had great chemistry, that's because they were just like a stand-up comedy duo.
Oh shit.
Who like apparently the Chiodos has just put out a call for, we want people who have experiences like being like on camera together or like doing stand-up. And they cast those two dudes who are really funny. You can find some of their performances, which are like, they were getting in at like the beginning of like alt comedy. So they're like really weird and they're fantastic. There's one where like they were on like some late night talk show and they're like, please welcome, so-and-so and so-and-so. And they come out in just like Speedos, swim caps, and goggles, and music starts playing and they just turn to each other and they start playing each other like drums. And it's one of the best bits I've ever seen. That's all they do, and then they like turn, bow, and leave.
Weirdly enough, that also sums up this movie.
Yes.
The tone of this movie.
Yes, I love everything
Perfect
about it.
casting.
Yeah. This movie's critical reaction has always actually been relatively solid. Again, don't go just by the numbers on Rotten Tomatoes. Look at the actual reviews, but it's got like a 77. On Rotten Tomatoes.
Is this more of like a cult classic?
Yeah, I was gonna say immediately, like people were like, it's really fun, but it's destined for cult status. Like I think it made back like its budget, but it wasn't like a huge hit. But it immediately connected with the audience it needed to connect with. At the time it came out, I guess Leonard Maltin gave it like 1 star, and I was like, what the fuck? But then he went back and like did a second pass at the review, and he was like 2.5 out of 4. This movie's a really good time.
Yeah,
like. Which is nice. I like when critics do that. Yeah. Like I think it was Roger Ebert gave like a bad review to Blade Runner when it came out, where he was like, it's slow, it's too obsessed with the effects, and then like he did another pass on the review in like the 90s, and he was like, apparently some idiot once said this movie is slow. Fuck that guy.
John Carpenter, these movies are too violent.
Yeah. I like it when critics can be like, I was wrong, man. This movie's great.
Yeah. That's fun to see how movies
you
age.
grow as a person. And it's also, I think people give critics a lot of shit, but it's like they literally watch it once at a theater, go home and write a review.
Yeah.
They don't get to like, I want to sit with this for a day.
Yeah,
like that's why criticism is hard.
Yeah, your opinion changes on movies over time.
Yeah. So I like it when they get a chance to go back and re-review something.
Yeah.
But be nicer to critics. Film criticism is important. I know it feels like a lot of times you and I are shitting on them, so I just wanted to clarify that. It sucks when they don't like something we like, but film criticism is important and I value it and like it. And luckily the film criticism for this movie was like, hey, it's pretty fun.
Yeah. Also, film criticism today is a little weird sometimes when it gets to like, you clearly wrote an article on this film to do something. It
is tough because now anyone can say like, oh, I'm a professional film critic without actually having anything to really say. I'm a big fan of a podcast called Blank Check with Griffin and David. And one of the hosts, David, is one of the film critics for The Atlantic. And he once tweeted out like a YouTube video where somebody was like, this is my film critique. So-and-so once said, if you don't have anything nice to say, don't say anything at all. And then just didn't say anything and stared at the camera for 30 seconds. And he was like, this isn't criticism. Like, you're doing a disservice by saying that this is criticism.
Yeah.
Because it is. Like, it's so important.
Yeah.
So it just bums me out that like people have twisted it into something that it shouldn't be.
Yeah,
because everyone's a critic now.
Yeah, yeah. Because I'm not too familiar with like film critics in general. Like when you talk about certain film critics, I'm like,
right.
I think I know that name. I'm more familiar with like game critics, and there's so much stupid stuff that goes on with that. Like articles being written about games to like tank it, or like they have their own thing that like their own agenda that they're trying to do.
Right, because there's like these like legitimate websites where they're like hiring reporters essentially. Like that's your job.
Yeah.
And they like sometimes it's like, did you watch the movie?
Yeah.
Did you play the game? It would be like if I wrote a review of the Spider-Man game.
Yeah.
It's like, I didn't play Spider-Man. Like I'm bad at video games. Like support your local film critic as long as they're good at it.
Yeah. Support the good ones who are trying to do something good.
Everybody be nicer.
Yeah.
Now, this movie, they have been trying to make a sequel to pretty much since it came out.
Is there no sequels to it?
There's no sequels. Oh, this movie is begging for a franchise.
Yeah.
Or a cartoon show. Or
animated series. Get on it. Adult Swim. Fucking Titmouse. Titmouse is an animation studio.
I know, it just still makes me laugh. At various points, like in 2005, they almost had a sequel together. I actually they started making stuff for a sequel, like Designing Clowns, and they eventually just used those to pop up in Ernest Scared Stupid, like redesign them to be trolls because it just never got off the ground. 2005 they started to do it. 2012 they started to like talk about it, so much so that the gentleman who plays Mike Tobacco was like, oh yeah, they already called me, I'm gonna be in it. And then it never happened. And then they finally started getting some together. As of March 2016 they've been trying to develop it as a series for cable, which would be awesome.
Yeah,
because it could just be like, and they want to keep the continuity. It wouldn't be like reboot it. It would just be like, no, we're picking up where that movie ends.
Yeah.
Like it's 30 years later. What are they all doing?
Yeah.
Which would be awesome.
Yeah.
Like the clowns come back, you know?
Yeah.
So apparently this is new on the Wikipedia.
Breaking news.
In August of 2019, after the acquisition of 21st Century Fox by Disney, it was revealed that Fox intended on developing the sequel to Killer Klowns from Outer Space. Oh, damn it. But Disney had canceled it. It was going to be the return of the Killer Klowns from Outer Space in 3D.
Oh, God.
Okay, I don't like love 3D all the time, but for movies like this, I'm like, hell yeah.
Oh, yeah. Man.
Damn it. So hopefully someone still picks it up as a series or just gives them the money to make a movie. Let them kickstart it.
Yeah.
But yeah, that's Killer Klowns from Outer Space. I love this movie, 10 out of 10. It's easily in like my top 5 horror movies of all time. Not because it's like the best horror movie, because it's the best time you can have watching a horror movie.
Yeah, I feel like all the ones we've watched this month are all movies that I'm like, man, I feel like watching that again.
Yeah.
Like all of them have a crazy replayability value.
Yes. And I will say, I believe next week's episode has the same replayability.
Next week, we're watching Alien.
Hell yeah. Ridley Scott, the original.
Yeah, I've never seen it. But yeah, it's one of those things that, like, with Jack Nicholson and Kurt Russell, I'm like, I never saw them in their prime. It'll be fun to see Ridley Scott like in his prime doing this thing, and so it'll be fun to watch. Yeah, and we'll have a special guest.
It's our first crossover with another podcast host.
Find out next week who it is.
Yeah.
Bum, bum, bum. That was Killer Klowns.
Yes.
Join us next week for Alien.
Where can everyone find you, Zach?
At Zach Shirk on Instagram and ZachShirk.com. Where can they find you?
Well, you can find me on just about everything as I Draw Paintings or over on my Facebook artist page, Matt Merys.
And you can listen to Matt Makes Zach Watch Horror Movies on Spotify, Apple Podcasts, Google Podcasts, Stitcher, and YouTube for the video version where you can see us do our little drawing.
Yeah.
And check out the Twitter at Hey Supermoon. Matt runs that.
That's where you can find me.
And at Supermoon Studio on Instagram. That's where you can find me. I'll post all of our drawings. You can send me Patrick Wilson memes. Please. There needs to be more out there. And we just started streaming on Twitch.
Yes.
Twitch.tv/Supermoon Live.
Zach makes Matt play horror games.
Yeah. I made Matt play Dead by Daylight, and I did some streaming of drawing some of the art.
Yeah.
So
it's real fun, guys. Check it out.
Yeah, check it out. I'm sure you can find either on Instagram or Twitter whenever we're streaming.
Yes, we'll make sure to share that for you guys.
Yeah. And like I said in the beginning, thrilling news, Matt Makes Zach Watch Horror Movies will be at Midsummer Scream 2020.
Yes.
With a table. So check us out there.
Yeah, come by, just chat us up.
Yeah.
You know, there will be art. There will be many discussions about how great Michael Myers is, I assume.
Yeah.
And I'll do a Freddy impression for you.
Oh, yeah. And like we said in the Shining episode, just come up to us and go, Rad Rum, and we'll be like, murder!
Yeah, we'll give you a sticker.
Yeah. So, check it out.
Yes.
And on that note, hey, listener, are you Debbie's roommates?
Bye.
Bye.